When the hour came, Jesus sat at the table, and the apostles with him, and he said to them,
I have earnestly desired to eat the Passover with you before I suffered. For I tell you, I shall not eat it until it is fulfilled in the kingdom of God.
And he took a chalice, and when he had given thanks, he said,
Take this and divide it among yourselves. For I tell you that from now on, I shall not drink the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes.
And he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying,
This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.
and likewise the chalice after supper, saying,
This chalice which is poured out for you is a new covenant in my blood. But behold, the hand of him who betrays me is with me on this table. For the Son of Man goes as it has been determined, but woe to that man by whom he is betrayed.
And they began to question one another, which of them it was that would do this. A dispute also arose among them, which of them was to be regarded as the greatest. And he said to them,
The kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those in authority over them are called benefactors. But not so with you. Rather, let the greatest among you become as the youngest, and the leader as one who serves. For which is the greater, one who sits at table or one who serves? Is it not the one who sits at table? But I am among you as one who serves. You are those who have continued with me in my trials. As my Father appointed a kingdom for me, so do I appoint you, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brethren.
and he said to him,
Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death.
he said,
I tell you, Peter, the cock will not crow this day until you 3 times deny that you know me.
and he said to them,
When I sent you out with no purse or bag or sandals, did you lack anything?
they said,
Nothing.
he said to them,
But now, let him who has a purse take it, and likewise a bag. And let him who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one. For I tell you that these scriptures must be fulfilled in me. And he was reckoned with transgressors. For what is written about me has its fulfillment.
and they said,
Look, Lord, here are 2 swords.
and he said to them,
It is enough.
and he came out and went, as was his custom, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples followed him. And when he came to the place, he said to them,
Pray that you may not enter into temptation.
and he withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and he knelt down and prayed,
Father, if you are willing, remove this chalice from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done.
And there appeared to him an angel from heaven, strengthening him. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly. And his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down upon the ground. And when he rose from prayer, he came to the disciples and found them sleeping for sorrow. And he said to them,
Why do you sleep? Rise and pray, that you may not enter into temptation.
While he was speaking, there came a crowd, and the man called Judas, one of the 12, was leading them. He drew near to Jesus to kiss him, but Jesus said to him,
Judas, would you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?
And when those who were about him saw what would follow, they said,
Lord, shall we strike with the sword?
And one of them struck the slave of the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus said,
No more of this.
and he touched his ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests and the captains of the temple and elders, who had come out against him,
Have you come out as against a robber, with swords and clubs? When I was with you day after day in the temple, you did not lay hands on me, but this is your hour and the power of darkness.
Then they seized him and led him away, bringing him into the high priest's house. Peter followed at a distance. And when they had kindled a fire in the middle of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter among them, the maid seeing him, as he sat in the light and gazing at him, said,
This man was also with him.
But he denied it, saying,
Woman, I do not know him.
And a little later, someone else saw him and said,
You are also one of them.
But Peter said,
Man, I am not.
and after an interval of about an hour, still another one insisted, saying,
Certainly, this man was also with him, for he is a Galilean.
But Peter said,
Man, I do not know what you're saying.
And immediately, while he was speaking, the cock crowed. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter. And Peter remembered the words of the Lord, how he had said to him, Before the cock crows today, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly. Now, the men who were following Jesus mocked him and beat him. They also blindfolded him and asked him,
Prophesy, who is it that struck you?
And they spoke many other words against him, reviling him. When the day came, the assembly of the elders of the people gathered together, both chief priests and scribes, and they led him away with their counsel, and they said,
If you are Christ, tell us.
but he said to them,
If I tell you, you will not believe. And if I ask you, you will not answer. But from now on, the Son of Man shall be seated at the right hand of the power of God.
and they all said,
Are you the Son of God then?
and he said to them,
You say that I am.
and they said,
What further testimony do we need? We have heard it ourselves from his own lips.
Now the whole company of them arose and brought him before Pilate, and they began to accuse him, saying,
We found this man perverting our nation and forbidding us to give tribute to Caesar, and saying that he himself is Christ the King.
And Pilate asked him,
Are you King of the Jews?
and he answered him.
You have said so.
And Pilate said to the chief priests and the multitudes,
I find no crime in this man.
but they were urgent, saying,
This does our people, teaching throughout all Judea, from Galilee even to this place.
When Pilate heard this, he asked whether the man was Galilean. And when he learned that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him over to Herod, who was himself in Jerusalem at that time. When Herod saw Jesus, he was very glad, for he had long desired to see him, because he had heard about him. And he was hoping to see some sign done by him. So he questioned him as a man, but he made no answer. The chief priests and the scribes stood by, vehemently accusing him. And Herod, with his soldiers, treated him with contempt and mocked him. Then, clothing him in gorgeous apparel, he sent him back to Pilate. And Herod and Pilate became friends with each other that very day, for before this they had been at enmity with each other. Pilate then called together the chief priests and the rulers and the people, said to them,
You brought me this man as one who was converting the people. And after examining him before you, behold, I did not find this man guilty of any of the charges against him, neither did Herod, for he sent him back to us. Behold, nothing deserving death has been done by him. I will therefore chastise him and release him.
but they all cried out together,
Away with this man, and release to us Barnabas.
a man who had been thrown into prison for an insurrection started in the city, and for murder. Pilate addressed them once more, desiring to release Jesus, but they shouted out.
Crucify! Crucify him!
At that time he said to them,
Why? What evil has he done? I have found in him no crime deserving death. I will therefore chastise him and release him.
but they were urgent, demanding with loud cries that he should be crucified, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate gave sentence that their demand should be granted. He released that man who had been thrown into prison for insurrection and murder, whom they asked for, but Jesus delivered up to their will. As they led him away, they seized one, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and laid him to the cross to carry it behind Jesus. And there followed him a great multitude of people and of women who bewailed and lamented him. But Jesus turned to them, saying,
Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming, when they will say, Blessed are the barren, and the womb that never bore, and the breast that never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. For if they do this when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry?
Two others also, who were criminals, were led away to be put to death with him. And when they came to the place which is called the Skull, they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right and one on the left. And Jesus said,
Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
And they cast lots to divide his garments, and the people stood by, watching. But the rulers scoffed at him, saying,
He saved others, let him save himself, if he is Christ of God, his chosen one.
And the soldiers crossed mocked him, coming up and offering him vinegar and saying,
If you are king of the Jews, save yourself.
There was an inscription over him, This is the king of the Jews. One of the criminals who were hung railed at him, saying,
Do you want the Christ? Save yourself and us.
But the other one rebuked him, saying,
Do you not fear God, since you are in the same sentence of condemnation? And we who live justly, for we are receiving the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong.
And he said,
Jesus, remember me when you come in your kingdom power.
and he said to him,
Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise.
It was now about the 6th hour, and there was darkness all over the whole land until the 10th hour. While the sun's light failed, and the curtain of the temple was torn into two. Then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said,
Father, who into your hands I commend my spirit.
and having said this, he breathed his last. Now, when the centurion saw what had taken place, he praised God and said,
Certainly, this man was innocent.
and all the multitudes who assembled to see the sight, and when they saw what had taken place, returned home, beating their breasts, and all his acquaintances and the women who had followed him from the Galilee stood at a distance and saw these things. Now there was a man called Joseph, from the Jewish town of Barnabas. He was a member of the council, a good and a righteous man, who had not consented their purpose and deed, and he was looking for the kingdom of God. This man went early and asked for the body of Jesus, and he took it down and wrapped it in a linen shroud, and laid him in a rock-hewn tomb, where no one had ever yet been laid. It was the day of preparation, and the Sabbath was beginning. The women who had come with him from